Hi people, I want to make a quick video. I've done this before, but I didn't really go into details on why or how all you could do this. You could use Sevagoth, you could use Protea, I suppose, but I feel like the melee exalted that can abuse influence are the best way to do this because they just melt the whole map very, very quickly. Sevagoth's got, what is it, I think it's like a 30-meter radius around him, which is decent enough. I feel like the melee influence is better because it can travel a distance, especially with Exalted Blade. You know, you swing them projectiles out, and the influence just goes absolutely crazy. So if you're doing this non-steel path and you're doing this, I don't know if it even works for a non-steel path. And if you're a low level, you know, you could just make a sort of budget Excalibur build with replacing Fury with normal Fury, Prime Fury, normal Fury, and putting in, you know, something like this. So we're gonna have True Steel there. We're gonna drop that. We're gonna drop that. We could do this now. If you don't have the Prime mods, you could just pretend these are non-Prime mods. Electric. And what else could we put in? Put Sacrificial Steel there. You could maybe put in Gladiator Might. You could put in Melee Elementalist. And then, you know, something like Blood Rush. You could fit that in there, you know, Melee Elementalist in there. Obviously, I don't have this forward, right? So imagine this is here. This would carry it in non-steel path. To be honest, it would probably carry it in steel path. It's that strong. So make a budget build, sort of something like this, if you don't have all the mods I'm using. The main thing we care about here is Excalibur with Chromatic Blade, Furious Javelin. There's going to be a multiplicative buff to our Condition Overload, which we have in the Steel Path version. If you're doing the non-Steel Path version for the calendar, don't worry about this too much because, you know, just the melee influence Exalted Blade setup will melt this. If you're doing the Steel Path version, this is the build that I use for Cascade, level cap, everything in the game I use this for. It's absolutely amazing. So, you know, I might swap out Avenger for that. We'll get more strength, more status chance, just absolutely ludicrous damage. So, you know, we're going to gain energy back here. We don't have equilibrium, but we have so many kills that we don't really need it, you know. We've got this, we've got this, we've got this, we've got this. What we've got in the Diddiga, we have this to set up just a decent primer, booster shields now and then. Condition overload working in the condition overload working on Exalted Blade, a bit more shield gate in there. You know, we're gonna have full shields almost instantly, constantly, with a 1.4 second break. This doesn't really matter. You know, you can spam this for Overguard if you want, but to be honest, you're probably not going to need it until you get into high enough levels. So this is all geared up for the calendar challenge of kill 500 enemies with abilities. And, you know, you could do this with Valkyrie. I suppose you can use influence to a certain extent. You can use it with Baruch, you can use it with Atlas. So I'll just quickly show you what I would use if I was using them to do this. So where is my... We could use Cora, you know, as long as you set Cora up like this. She's going to just melt the whole map, this sort of setup. If you don't have the Prime mods, just go, you know, True Steel here, normal Elementalist mod there. This is what I have on Cora. And, you know, she will melt this whole map. You're constantly spamming your one, so this is a flex slot, you don't really need that. You won't have accumulating Whip Claw, but you can swap this out for, you know, whatever you want Equilibrium. But I like Pilfer's Strangledome for the loot when I do it. So if you were to use that, that would melt everything as well. There's the calendar very easily. That would be the Cora sort of setup. Here's the Atlas sort of setup. This is what I would have here. Swap that out for True Steel. This is going to melt everything in the map very easily. These builds are all geared for 9999, but these are not 999 videos either. And these can all do that. This is flex slot. This is flex slot. Put whatever you want there. You know, you can put Growing Power. You can put Brief Respite there. Really doesn't matter. I think what I'll do is swap this back just now because that's not what I've been using. Where is it? Put that there. We're going to swap out there, and we could put in. We could put in fast deflection. You know, that would work great here. So we'll go in with Excalibur because that's who I like to use, and you know everybody's going to have an Excalibur Umbra, so everybody can replicate what I'm doing. Could do it with Valkyr. This is the sort of Valkyr setup I'd be running. Now, you really don't need to focus on what Valkyr's got built on her actual frame. We just care about the claws here. This is going to melt everything. Swap that for True Steel if you don't have it. Swap that for your Elementalist mod if you can. I would put that in there. You would just use your normal reach, and you could drop that and put, you know, more crit damage there if you want. So we've got Wukong as well. Wukong could easily do this. We've got Dante with his one, but I think we're going to just focus on the melee here. We've got Gara here. This would be the sort of setup for Gara. They're all very alike, as you can see a pattern here. These will all shred the calendar very, very easily. The only thing with Gara is a bit funny if there's height difference on enemies. You know, if you're up a step or down a step, enemies are a bit difficult to track in the attack. Who else do we have? We could probably use Hildren. We're not talking about, like I said, we're not talking about non-melee exalted. So where's my boy Varuk? Varuk is super, super busted. Very slept on character because of his erode. Again, we would just swap the galvanized reflex. We could put condition overload here, but I don't think we really need it because he's just so strong. So that would be the setup there on Varuk. It's a shield gate Varuk for level 10,000. Oh, sorry, no, it's not. I've swapped out just now. I swapped out the catalyzing shields for that. But you know, we've got Arkham Circumvent here, rolling enemies and get Overguard at level 10,000. So this would be the sort of setup you would use in them. But here we're going to go with Excalibur today. So Umbra. Again, setup once again. Replicate this if you can. It's going to work on all content in the game very, very, very well. So let's jump into this calendar just now. It's the last challenge I got to do. As you can see, kill 500 enemies with abilities. What we're getting, absolute trash, but I thought I'd show it anyway. So let's go into here. We'll go into the Tech Rot one, and we'll melt everything relatively quick.
The art of combat must be practiced to truly.
Now, energy myself can be a bit touch and go at the beginning, but we should be alright. Once we get the blade out and we start getting our kills, everything just melts. So, we'll dash, we'll pull the blade out, start swinging. 10 already. And then, you know, once we get a big clump of enemies, we cast our 3 because of the chromatic blade augment, and, you know, it'll just melt everything. The damage is multiplicative up to 1000%. We've got 260% damage increase there. Now, Arc on Stretch won't work here, but if we come out of it, you know, if we run out of energy, we'll be constantly proccing Arc on Stretch through the Diriga, which is very, very nice. As you can see, this is just brain dead, swing, swing, swing. Once we get that combo built up, it's good night Vienna. Weeping wounds, blood rush, damage. And people will probably fob Excalibur off with, oh, it's got bad crit chance. It does not matter. At level cap, it melts absolutely everything. It's doing millions and millions of damage, this. And if we ever get in any danger, like I've said time and time again, you cast a 1, you chain iframes. It is absolutely busted. So we're in danger, we break that. Look at that, full shields again. Immortal while we do it. Killing people with abilities. Extremely busted character. Excalibur is, in my opinion, the best exalted frame in the game. His AoE killing potential is, to me, is unmatched. We're at 120. I've only been in a minute and 54. Buff up. We're viral up. Not viral active, so we'll do a bit better now. 13 million was that. See how he does in the tech rock. Yeah, just insane damage. Really crazy. You just spam this light attack running around. I mean, before you know it, everything's dead. Not the most intense, intelligent gameplay, but it does work and it's nice and easy. And you know, any melee exalted with influence is going to do your ability damage, and also passively you sometimes get kill 500 enemies with melee weapons. So this will do both them challenges very easily, because this is classed as a melee weapon and ability damage. So it's very, very nice. These projectiles just going everywhere and killing everything in their path. Big, big, big damage. Add the Excalibur, the goat.
Getting puked up. Although it's only puke if it comes out of the tech rot's mouth. That's not a mouth.
So we're about halfway there now. It's only took us a couple of minutes. And you know, I just love Excalibur. That's why I take him. Like it says, every single melee Warframe can do this, and I'm no doubt that Mesa could do this. I don't know if she could do it as quick. You know, Hildrun could probably do it as quick, maybe even faster. But I went to go over the melee Exalted today because I know everybody will have. Look at that Melted Acolyte. Everyone will have Excalibur Umbra, and just with a lot of influence. Whether you want it with the triple Umbral set and one shield recharge mod, you're gonna still achieve the same survivability here. All you really needs to care about is a bit of strength, the 2 augments, and if you're going the Umbral set, you could go persistent and you'd work the same, but all we really care about to do this challenge is the 2 augments and influence and electric on your exalted weapon of Excalibur, and this is done very, very easily. Now, as this travels through walls and hits people far away, it's melting everything. It's getting its counter up very quick. Now it's nice because this will end roughly probably the time that we're ready to extract, which I think fits quite well. And you know, I haven't really cast as one at all this run. You can cast it to chain and get ability kills, and we're invulnerable too if that's how you want to play him. I think it's easier to just spam the heavies, you know, because as these travel, they're going to proc influence further away as well. We're ready to extract in just a second, and our challenge will be complete. There we go, done. Nice and easy. Smashes it quickly instead of, you know, hoping that maybe Zaku's guns get the kills for you and, you know, your companion or something else doesn't proc it. So it's a nice easy way to do it. Remember, any melee exalted can achieve this, just slap an influence, decent enough status chance. Even Valkyrie with a terrible status chance still achieve this, but she's going to build it up with weapon wounds. So cheers for watching, and don't sleep on Excalibur. He's more than just this, he's far more than just a beginner frame. He's absolutely excellent. I hope everybody will give him a try, and if you want a very deep, complex sort of video on Excalibur, I hope you can all go check somebody that I really admire, Agall on YouTube, A-G-A-L-L. He is the quintessential Excalibur main in my opinion, so if you can all go and have a look at his channel, he is the best Excalibur player I've ever seen. I'm just a pawn compared to him. He is very, very good, so check him out if you want a lot more knowledge and all the great little details about Excalibur. He knows them all because he's been playing him for a long, long time. Cheers, bye bye.